Next week, in episode 48, it looks like we're getting some Asana Tiger backstory, which looks adorable, cute, and interesting all at the same time. However, before then though, we need to talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's episode 47. A crazy, comedic heavy episode that sees Kaizo returning to the story. Now, Kaizo's return was very unexpected, and honestly, I loved this episode from a comedic standpoint. Getting to see Kaizo's new robotic body, and the fact that he's now teamed up with Gohan 66, even getting to see him duel, I thought was all very entertaining in my personal opinion. However, I think the more pressing matter here though from Kaizo's perspective was his feeling of being mistreated throughout the entire series. He's mostly been used for comedy, and when you pair that with his mistreatment of his safety and well-being from Yuga and the gang, Kaizo felt like this was the right thing to do. He wanted to exact revenge for all of those times that he's been put through pain, humiliation, and changes. Kaizo himself felt unappreciated when viewing himself as one of the members of the group, which does kind of follow the same beliefs as the Gohan 66 members, because, you know what, I'm going to talk about them in just a minute. Even within this episode, the group don't seem to care about Kaizo, and play his new appearance and his desires for revenge up as a malfunction in Kaizo's system. Simply stating that he's just a drone, implying that he doesn't have real feelings because he's not a real person or a human being. So from that perspective, it's highly understandable why Kaizo did what he felt like was necessary to do. Now, granted, this was mostly comedic, and Kaizo is very comedic, but at the same time, when you look deeper into it, you can kind of give that reason and that kind of viewpoint. And it gives us a little bit of insight and similarities between Kaizo and Gohan 66, kind of making a realistic-ish type of link to why they would team up together. However, as for Gohan 66, unfortunately, they once again fail to deliver on presenting themselves as being threatening. Being defeated by Asana, Tiger, and the Machine Cavalry Club members, which that is an extremely powerful team in of itself, so it's no wonder that they would lose if they're not good at dueling. But this just goes to show that they are no threat in terms of dueling. However, do not write them off just yet, as they still have some intriguing elements left about their character and their group. Their plan was to access the dueling server, which holds information about all dueling things related, including rush duels. This would then lead them into taking over Gohan and soon the dueling world. I really would like to see how their information that they would obtain from this server would allow them to achieve these specific goals. Would it actually be more business and less action? For example, could they sell access to this server to different companies in order to make a profit and monitor who duels, when, and where? Plus, if you combine this with the fact that they've made a Rush Duel tournament, they are behind this tournament itself, and of course the popularity for Rush Duels has skyrocketed. So, if they get access to Rush Duels and they can monitor who Rush Duels when, where, and how, they can sell that to any company out there and make a huge profit off of the popularity of Rush Duels because they own it, they can control it. Learning the fact though that you have to be 66 years old before you can retire from Gohan was a little fun fact about the company we learned today. However, knowing that each member of Gohan 66 is 66 years old doesn't fill me up with much excitement moving forward. But again, returning back to some lingering and intriguing elements about this group, what exactly is this final firework they wish to ignite and explode before they retire? Is it destroying Gohan? Well, if this is the case, it does link to their feelings of feeling unappreciated by the company. They feel like they were just faceless employees to this company despite having undying loyalty towards it. And yet they got given no recollection, recollection, whatever that word is, I think you know what I mean at all. Recollection. Recognition. Yeah. Switching gears now though, let's talk about the Ramen Shop. As I found this segment a little bit underwhelming, however, my expectations were probably a bit too high before going into this part of the episode. Nevertheless though, it was still a really fun, entertaining, enjoyable segment of this episode. One that I saw as a massive troll to us as the viewer. It was definitely a red herring, to say the least. Seeing Ranze appear out of nowhere and basically talking like a member of the Seven's community, or a crazy theorist stating that the Ramen Man must be Otis because he has the signature up on the wall and he's laughing menacingly without answering any of Roa's questions. So that is the only conclusion. It turns out he was just watching a funny comedy program on his phone. That's why he was laughing. That's why he didn't answer. He was absorbed in what he was doing. Yeah, definitely a great red herring. Definitely a good comedic moment. However, we do learn from this interaction that Gohan 66 might still have a deeper role to play moving forward, and the Ramen Man hinted at them holding a deep, dark secret. Plus, we know that Otis, or whoever left that signed autograph, is a cheapskate. Forgetting his wallet and couldn't pay for the meal, he just signed his signature and left that kind of plaque there as payment. Wonder if I can do that. Probably not. Shouldn't try it. Don't try that. And finally, let's talk about Rook, as I was pleasantly surprised by the level of maturity his character displayed in this episode. Especially when talking to Getter and Ushio, stating the Roa could have picked anyone if his only intentions were to talk to Otis. But he didn't. Roa chose the both of you, meaning the Roa does care about you both and wanted to partake in this tournament with his bandmates, with his friends. I like this simply for the fact that Roman is the one to point out that Rook is very similar to Roa in that regard, because Rook wanted to partake in the tournament with Yuga. That's why Rook had an outburst at the start of the tournament being announced. Plus, we also get to see, once again, Rook has his Luke Devil available within the show. Hopefully, again, we get that explored soon, because that's a recurring thing, and I want to learn more about it. As for the duel, I really did like the monster designs for Kaizo's deck, and I liked the theme that was behind it. I thought it was very funny, but one thing that I absolutely loved the most about the duel, and it wasn't actually the back and forth itself or the monsters, it was actually the designs of the backgrounds that the monsters had. When the monsters were summoned, they were summoned with different backgrounds that just looked so clean, crisp, and well animated and well designed. Plus, the summoning animation for the monsters when they appeared just flowed very effortlessly and was very aesthetically pleasing to see when watching the episode and the duel progress. So yeah, overall, if you enjoy the comedy that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7's normally brings to it, then this episode is going to be really good. Otherwise, if the comedy isn't your style, then it's going to be a hard episode to watch. However, I really like this. I think my favourite comedic moment from the episode was the bridge scene with little Tubby Roman and Tubby Rook kind of... I don't know, I just love the voice acting there. I think the effects on the voices they did was great. And I just love the fact it's a carry-over comedic element from the last episode where they were eating all of that cake, sweets, and candy from the Stonehenge sort of sculpture. However, I want to know what your favourite comedic segment from this episode was and your general thoughts on the episode itself. If there's anything that I missed and you think is super important, then of course share down below and we'll have a good conversation about it. But hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, hit that like button, and of course, I'll see you next time. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff, but more importantly, have a great day. Arigato, matane, goodbye.